Hi there, it's Sherry Truhlar with Red Apple Auctions. Thank you for joining me, where today we're going to be talking about initials. Amy Z, I won't say her last name, but it begins with a Z, wrote in last week and said, Sherry, what do all the initials mean after an auctioneer's name, and are they important? That's a great question, Amy. I don't think I've addressed it before on my blog, so I wanted to tackle that one today. So BAS stands for Benefit Auctioneer Specialist. It is a designation that's put out by the National Auctioneers Association. I went to their website a couple of days ago, downloaded what they describe it as. They said, provide auctioneers with advanced training in planning and conducting successful benefit auctions, as well as techniques to establish a successful and profitable benefit auction business. The only word I would take issue with here is advanced training. Personally, when I went, I didn't think it was that advanced. Now, I had been working in benefit auctions for a couple of years, and I admit I have more of a zest and interest in this than many auctioneers, but when I looked at it, took the course, I didn't feel like it was advanced. I felt like it's more, as you would expect in something like this, they have to teach to the widest swath. They had to teach the lowest common denominator to bring people up. So I didn't find it to be advanced training, but it is good training on benefit auctions, especially if you don't know anything about it. For an auctioneer to become a BAS, they do have to fulfill certain requirements. First, they have to sit through 21 hours of education. For mine, I flew to Minneapolis, somewhere in Minnesota, I think it was Minneapolis, and the course was up there. It's about 2.5 days. During that time period, we learn about the components of a benefit auction, items, audience development techniques. We also spend time talking about how to develop your benefit auction business, contracts to use with nonprofits. We learn about how to build your business, where to go to find clients. We talked about marketing, self-promotion. So all of that's kind of rolled into those 21 hours. And that course costs $550 right now. So auctioneer is having to take time out, fly to wherever it's being held, pay the hotel, pay the airfare, pay for the classroom education. So there's an investment there, financial and time. After the course, they are to write a detailed auction summary. I think mine was 30 pages long. All these photos about what worked, what didn't work, how the nonprofit could improve. So I submitted that along with documentation that I had worked at least 6 benefit auctions. Once the NAA gets that and approves it all, then they will give you the designation. To maintain that designation, you have to then have 24 hours of continuing education every 3 years, which I find incredibly easy to do. Some people will complain about this, and I'm like, how could you not do 24 hours in 3 years? It's not like you even have to do education on benefit auctions. You can sit through a real estate course or a marketing course, a leadership course, and it'll apply towards your continuing education. So I don't think that's that big of a deal, but some people do. And then you also have to pay an annual designation fee. I just paid mine. It was $50. So every year that I want to say that I'm a BAS, I have to pay $50. That's the current fee. All of that is how you maintain your BAS, and you're allowed then to use this logo, which I don't use, but I'm sure at one point I used it. It's just that I don't know. When my business has gotten to the point that I don't need to rely on this to prove that I know what I'm talking about. But if I was starting out, I probably would put this on my website. I probably did have it on my website at one point. But some people like to use logos like the NAA logo, CAI logo, and so forth, and I'm just not a big logo girl, so I don't have them on my site. But if you see an auctioneer that's got that on their website or on their business card, you can assume that they are a BAS. And if they're using it illegally, well then the NAA is going to have to take issue with them. So the big question here is, how important is it? Does it matter? Oh, I'm getting emails. What does it mean? Here's what I think it means. I think it means that if you see somebody that's got BAS after their name, it means that they are interested in improving their skills. They're interested in learning about things. It shows some self-motivation on their part. It shows at least that they have somewhat of an interest in benefit auctions. Does it make them a great auctioneer? No, it doesn't make them a great auctioneer. In this world, there are great auctioneers and not so great auctioneers. There are great business people and not so great business people. There are great lawyers and not so great lawyers, great real estate realtors and horrible realtors. And I'm sure we have all had our experiences, whether it's working with a doctor or a plumber or an electrician or whatever, where someone who cuts hair, who's great at their craft, and others who are not great at their craft. And it has nothing to do with their degree. I mean, Bill Gates didn't graduate from college, but the man is richer than most of us. He doesn't have an MBA. He's doing okay. So it doesn't mean that just because you have a BAS, you're a great auctioneer. But it does indicate that someone took an interest in learning more. So if you were to evaluate a list of 10 auctioneers, and you were only going to choose your auctioneer based on whether they had, initials after their name, yeah, I would probably narrow it down using that. But the truth is that if you want to have a great auctioneer, you need to do a little bit more footwork on your end. It's going to involve talking to nonprofits, watching some videos, checking out websites and seeing what they really know, getting a flavor for their style, maybe attend one of their events, talk to them at the least. So there's a lot more involved with just choosing an auctioneer than just simply looking to see whether or not they have a BAS. That's my 2 cents. I wouldn't choose a bookkeeper for years. I used a bookkeeper, she wasn't a CPA. I was happy with her work. So it doesn't always indicate that this person knows what they're doing just because they have a designation or a degree. Now for other help here, I'd encourage you to head over to my website, redappleauctions.com. If you see the tab there, free resources, that's where I'd start if I was you and you were just getting started with Red Apple Auctions and all that we have to offer, because underneath that there's a lot of different tabs that you can go to hear people talk about how they've improved their auction, to get information on consignment and understanding that whole part of the industry. I've got some tools on there called an auction item guide that's got the top 100 items in it that I sold for overvalue last year, and that's always a top download item as well. So check it out, redappleauctions.com. I'm Sherry with Red Apple Auctions. Thank you for joining me today, and as always, good luck to you in your benefit auction.